What's going on, you guys? This is Ted Strokes here, and today I'm going to be giving you guys my game step by step on how yes, you family who's watching at home, how to fix your own credit by yourself. So you don't have to hire my company, That Bag Inc., or any other company to do it for you, ultimately costing you thousands. One of the more highly requested video topics I've gotten over the past couple of months, and I'm very excited to give it to y'all. But before I do that, you guys already know the drill. Take a second, take a minute, take an hour out of your day, right here, right now, to just go ahead and hit that like button and show this video some love, family. And without further ado, let's bite right down into it. Credit is essentially an agreement where you borrow money or goods with the promise to repay them later, often with interest. It's a fundamental concept in finance, allowing individuals and businesses to access resources before having the means to pay for them. The history of credit in the U.S. stretches back to the 1800s, with the first credit reporting agencies appearing in the 1800s, and the first modern credit card, Diners Club, launched in 1950. During the 1800s, local merchant associations formed credit reporting agencies to help commercial lenders manage risk, collecting information about borrowers and selling it to lenders. In 1841, the Mercantile Agency, one of the first commercial credit reporting agencies, was founded, utilizing correspondence to gather information about borrowers and lenders across the United States. The Federal Reserve System provides credit to member banks through its discount window, serving as a lender of last resort to ensure liquidity and support the smooth functioning of the payment system. Now, before we get more into it, let me tell you a little bit of Jewish history. In the Old Testament, every 7 years, the Israelites were to cancel debts and free their servants, as outlined in Leviticus 25 and Deuteronomy 15. Deuteronomy 15:1, 2 states that at the end of every 7 years, creditors should remit the claim that is held against a neighbor because the Lord's remission has been proclaimed. Freedom for servants. If a servant refused to leave after 6 years of service, they could choose to remain, but their ear would be pierced, and they would become a permanent servant. Sabbatical year. Leviticus 25:2-7 describes a sabbatical year, a year of rest, every 7 years, where the land was to be left fallow, and no sowing or pruning could be done. Jubilee year, after 7 sabbatical years, or 49 years, the following year, the 50th year, was a Jubilee year, a year of release and restoration, where the land rested and slaves were freed. Significance of 7. The number 7 is significant in the Bible, often representing completion, rest, and God's plan. So, with all this being said, they created the Under the Fair Credit Reporting Act. Listen, under the Fair Credit Reporting Act, FCRA, most negative information, including unpaid credit card debt, must be removed from your credit report after 7 years from the date of the original delinquency. This means that after 7 years, the debt should no longer appear on your credit report, although it doesn't mean the debt is forgiven or that you no longer owe it. Here's a more detailed explanation. FCRA and negative information. The Fair Credit Reporting Act, FCRA, dictates that negative information, such as late payments or collections, can only be reported on your credit report for a maximum of 7 years from the date of the original delinquency. 7-year period. This 7-year period typically begins 180 days after the account first becomes delinquent. Impact on credit score. Once the 7-year period has passed, the negative item should no longer appear on your credit report, which can have a positive impact on your credit score. Debt still owed. It's important to note that even though the debt may no longer appear on your credit report after 7 years, the debt itself doesn't disappear or become forgiven. You are still legally obligated to pay the debt, and debt collectors may still attempt to collect it. Judgments. If you have a legal judgment against you related to the debt, it might remain on your credit report for a longer period, potentially beyond 7 years, as judgments are typically reported for a longer time. Disputes. If you believe a negative item is incorrectly listed on your credit report or fails to expire after 7 years, you can dispute it with the credit bureaus. Paying off old debts before they reach the Statute of Limitations or credit reporting deadline can positively influence your payment history, a significant factor in your FICO score. This move can boost your credit score and contribute to a healthier credit profile. You're not obligated to pay, though, and in most cases, time-barred debts no longer appear on your credit report, as credit reporting agencies generally drop unpaid debts after 7 years from the date of the original delinquency. The Jubilee was also a time to cancel debts. At the end of every 7-year period, you shall have a relaxation of debts. Deuteronomy 15, 1, 2. As the third millennium draws near, 13. As Christians, we interpret this tradition in light of Christ's ministry and message to us. Are debt collectors persistently trying to get you to pay what you owe them? Use this 11-word phrase to stop debt collectors. Please cease and desist all calls and contact with me immediately. You can use this phrase over the phone, in an email or letter, or both. Once you have made it clear to the debt collectors that you do not wish to hear from them again, it is time to take action to get your debt under control. A Rutherfordton bankruptcy lawyer can help you weigh your options. If you owe someone money, they have several options under the law to try to get their money back. One is by contacting you directly, though you can stop them from doing so by using the 11-word phrase as described. Another way that debt collectors can pursue money owed to them is through a lawsuit. Each state gives debt collectors a certain period of time in which they are allowed to sue those who owe them money. In both North Carolina and South Carolina, this time period is usually 3 years, according to NCGS Section 1, 52, 1, and SCN Section 15-3-530, respectively. Once your creditors decide to file a lawsuit, asking them to cease and desist will do no good. However, you can say that you disagree with the lawsuit. Collect materials and build an argument showing why your creditors are in error about the money you owe them or the amount of time you have to repay them. Ask a lawyer to represent you and protect your rights. Or protect your rights yourself, which we will show you how to do in this video. You know there comes a time where all of us at one point or another, or at least the greater majority, have made the biggest mistake, and that's paying a debt collector and paying collections. Now I know what you're probably thinking, and you're probably saying, well, Ted, I want my credit score to go up, or I'm tired of having a 500 credit score, or I'm tired of being in the low 600. Listen, I'm trying everything in my power to boost my credit score, and look, I get it, I've been there, but here's the thing, if you've paid collections in the past, and if you've ever paid a collector, did you notice that when you checked your credit report the following month, well, your credit didn't shoot up at all, and in some cases, your credit score either remained the same or it actually went down. You see, paying a collection agency and paying a debt collector does absolutely nothing for your credit score. And that's why I strongly recommend for you to take my classes in the Hustler's Manual playlist. Share this information with someone that you know could be committing the mistake of paying a collection company, thinking that their credit score is going to go up, or has paid a collection agency and hasn't seen their credit score go up at all. Now, here's the game. You're probably wondering, okay, Ted, well, they've sent me these letters stating that company XYZ, that they've now taken over the debt of the other credit card company or maybe a phone company that I owed money to. So, what do you mean I don't have to pay these collection agencies? They have my name, they have my address. I think I owe them money, don't I? Let me help you out, because this is how it works with collection companies. I know what your problem is. No one never took the time out to sit you down and give you the game, but thanks to the young elder, you're about to get this work. Now listen, how a collection agency works with original creditor. Let's say the credit card company ABC has been trying to get someone to either pay their debts or pay the amount of money that they owe because they fell in behind for whatever reason. That is after 180 days, whether it's at the end of the year or let's say after 180 days they decide to then do what's called a charge-off. Now what that simply means is we are now writing this off of our books because of tax purposes. We've now taken a loss on this. So now they're going to do one of a couple of things. They're either going to charge it off and call the insurance company, let them know that, hey, we've taken a loss on this. What collection agencies do or within that charge-off? They then call collection agencies and then they sell that portfolio of charge-offs. A charge-off occurs when a creditor, believing they won't be repaid, writes off a debt as a loss, resulting in a negative entry on your credit report. This signifies the creditor has given up on collecting the unpaid balance. A charge-off means a creditor has concluded that the debt is uncollectible and is no longer pursuing payment. Charge-offs significantly damage your credit scores, making it harder to qualify for loans, credit cards, and other credit products. A charge-off will appear as a negative entry on your credit report, indicating the debt has been written off, which is a pool of hundreds, if not thousands, of different charge-offs from different people. Not just one person. And now, what do these collectors do in these collection agencies? Well, they buy this portfolio of debt from the original creditor for, again, hundreds, if not thousands of people, for pennies on the dollar, literally getting a portfolio of 1,000 names and 1,000 different statements for $10, maybe even $15. when in return it's already been written off as a tax loss to these original creditors. Listen, no one else is going to tell you this. Now these collection agencies are just looking to double dip on what another company has already profited off of. Now listen at this. The first one of the reasons you are not obligated or even should be paying these debt collectors is because legally, you never made a legal binding contract with them stating that you are going to get a loan from them and that you will be paying them back. That's between you and the original creditor, which remember, it's already been charged off. The second reason is because remember these collection agencies already purchased that debt from the original creditor. But here's how that works. The original creditor is the company or entity that initially provided the loan or credit, like a bank that issued a loan or a credit card company, and they may attempt to collect the debt themselves or hire a debt collector. The original creditor is the entity that originally extended credit to you, such as a bank, credit card company, or other lender. Generally speaking, the original creditor is the company that gave you the loan or credit. An original creditor may attempt to collect a past due credit account itself, or it may hire a debt collector. The original creditor also may sell your credit account to a debt collector. When they purchased that debt, they were only buying these snapshots of these contracts for the original contract, but they don't actually own the original contract. That's right, like I said, I should be charging you for the game. This is $1 million worth of game. So, they don't have a physical copy of your web signature verifying and validating that you actually owe them that money and that you're indebted to them, and the reason why more often than not. They don't have that information even though they'll send you these harassing letters that say, hey, we've been assigned by XYZ or ADC credit card company to collect that debt that you owe them. They will ride you 24 hours a day. I have had some even call up to my job. Can you believe it? These guys are more like enforcers, not collectors. They say, we've not taken over the file to legally come after you. Why? Because it would cost them significantly more money, because remember, they're buying in the thousands. When it comes to these portfolios, to actually get their hands on that information from the original credit card company that someone owes the money to, let's say that this cup or this mug signifies the debt that they are selling off to these collection agencies, and the markers represent all the debt that's being sold off. Well, here's the thing. All the debt that's being sold off in here doesn't have the actual original contracts in it because they're all right here, and that's what makes it more expensive for them to buy on the back end and at the end of the business transaction day. It is a business transaction for them, and an extremely risky one at that. Let's say that they buy 10 different charged-off accounts from these original creditors with all the information. Well, guess what? They now have to go through the same process of trying to get someone to actually cough up the cash that they owe, because it's already been proven that the person doesn't have any money or has shown that they cannot pay that amount of debt within the last 180 days, leading up to them going into collections and becoming an official charge-off. So, rather than running the risk of them not possibly seeing a return on their investment by purchasing maybe a more expensive original contract for the debt owed, these companies will go ahead and settle for hundreds if not thousands of different collections within one big debt portfolio, because if, let's say, they for whatever reason aren't able to get any money on it, well, it only costs them 10 to 15 bucks for again to buy that big portfolio. Show they could start their harassment campaign to begin with, and this is why you always see them calling you hundreds, if not thousands of times a day, calling your friends, calling your relatives, calling your clap doctor, calling your grandma, calling your dog and goldfish just to get a couple $100s out of you. It's a shame. When all this happens, now it gets super embarrassing because now everyone's knowing, or everyone thinks at least, that you owe these different companies this amount of money, and not only is that a form of harassment, but you can also send them a letter that's a cease and desist. If they continue to call you, these companies don't own the original contract. They don't have any hard evidence on you, and in some cases, they're not even licensed to collect debt in your state. And this is exactly why you never want to pay these suckers, in my opinion, because at the end of the day, they're just trying to get money out of you. This is why they're so quick to settle a debt after trying to harass you. Calling your mom, calling your dad, calling everyone that could possibly be tied to you. And by the way, I never recommend for you to be in direct communication with any type of collection agency via phone. If you are and you are trying to dispute, or if you are trying to get some type of debt validation, which we'll talk about here in just a second, then I recommend doing all of that correspondence via mail. Again, companies like this have hundreds, if not thousands, of different people that they have in rotation, constantly getting caught, constantly getting bombarded, and this is why they're so quick to settle. Let's say a $4,000 debt that you had with the original creditor. They will settle for, let's say, $500 of that 4,000 with some collection agencies. But again, it doesn't do anything to improve your credit score, other than giving you your credit score a satisfaction stating that you've finally paid off the collection agency, but it never comes off of your credit. So there's two things. What can you do? You can either send the debt collection agency validation letters, letting them know, hey, look, I want to get this debt verified, and if you don't know how to do that, then I recommend that you reach out to someone that maybe has some experience, maybe a lawyer, or maybe someone in your local town that knows how to handle collectors and put them in their place. Or you can send dispute letters. You must dispute this stuff, letting them know, hey, look, this debt doesn't belong to me, or if you did settle for whatever reason and that is still showing up on your credit and you want to delete it from your credit report, you can send dispute letters over to Experian, TransUnion, or Equifax. Now, one really important thing that you do want to find out is the statute of limitations for your specific state and how long that stays on your report and how long they can continue to come after you. For one dirty tactic that these collection agencies do, which again just drives me crazy, is they will literally find a way to have someone pay it, or somehow it magically gets paid, or somehow they magically find a way to have a statement pulled up where it says on this date you paid even $1 toward it, and this yet again throws you into that loop. It's the biggest hustles ever. So rather than waiting for 5 or even 6 years for it to come off, well, it again starts the cycle. I've heard of stories where people are literally on their final week before it comes off after waiting the 3 to 4, even 5 years, and then all of a sudden, they get a report the following month stating that, well, they went into some type of payment plan with these collection companies, which again, it beats me of why anyone would ever do something like this to begin with, and there you have it.